We're still in the electrical world, but now on the one system the code watches most closely: fire alarm and detection. This is the life safety wiring, and it's worth slowing down for because it's both important and a favorite of the exam. You've seen the first piece in almost every building that isn't a house: the fire plan. It's the posted diagram showing where the exits are, with exit signs, sometimes the fire extinguishers, the emergency lighting, the various detectors. People rely on it to know where the basic safety features sit. Because it's a code requirement, it's usually a permit requirement too, something you have to show on your drawings. Now, the alarm system itself, which is a collection of parts working together. Not every building has all of them, but you should recognize the cast. There are detectors of different kinds: a heat detector, a carbon monoxide detector, a multi-sensor detector that watches for more than one thing. Those feed control pieces. Then there's the part that actually warns people, a sounder or a fire bell. And there are manual stations, the familiar break the glass and press here pulls placed near the exits so that as you're leaving, the last thing you do is trip the alarm and warn everyone else, in case a sensor hasn't already done it. Tying it all together is the fire alarm control panel, usually on the ground floor near the entrance and deliberately accessible to firefighters. When they arrive, that panel tells them quickly and clearly where the trouble is. Here's the part to actually study, because it's how the exam comes at this. You don't need the deep functional detail of every device. What you need is to know where each element belongs, what its main job is, and roughly where it lives in the building. So if you're asked whether a heat detector is part of the security system, the alarm system, or the fire alarm system, you should know without hesitating that it belongs to the fire alarm system. Same with a carbon monoxide detector or a sounder. Place the element in the right system, name its function, know its typical location, and you can handle whatever they throw at you. There's a code wrinkle in there worth holding on to as well. The requirements aren't identical for every device. A smoke detector and a heat detector don't carry the same code rules about where and when they're needed, so the distinction matters. Again, you're not memorizing every clause, but you should understand that compliance differs depending on which device you're talking about. And let's underline the bigger point about code. The fire alarm system is code relevant in a way most of the other electrical systems aren't. It's built into the code, so it has to be approved by the municipality. Compare that with security, monitoring, or cable television. Those still need their own building permits and drawings, but they aren't woven into the code the same way the fire alarm is. That difference, what the code mandates versus what's simply permitted, is a clean line to keep in your head, because it tells you which systems carry that extra weight of approval. So, to gather it up, the fire plan shows people the way out and is a code and permit item. The alarm system is an assembly of detectors, controls, sounders, and manual pulls, all reporting to a control panel that firefighters can read at a glance. For the exam, sort each element into its proper system, know what it does and where it goes, and remember that smoke and heat detectors don't share the same code requirements. And keep that bright line between the fire alarm, which the code mandates and the city approves, and the other low voltage systems, which need permits but live outside the code. Next episode, we follow the power into the parts of the building that move: elevators and escalators.